Hi, welcome to the 2.0 Weekly Podcast. I'm Howard Barouxis, and I'm a managing director with Valenta based in Miami, and I cover the southeast of the U.S.
And I'm Jake Day. I'm a managing partner for Arkansas, specifically focused on Northwest Arkansas, and also Georgia, focused on the Atlanta market.
Hey, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on within Valenta, not too much time. Talk a little bit about our technology partners, some people that we track, some people that we are interested in, and that type of thing. We've been taking a look at what's gone on in the news cycle. We just want to give a little highlight reel of what we found is interesting this past week. And then finally, we'll probably spend some time talking about what we're both working on. Probably keep it somewhat generic because we might not have permission to talk about our customers or clients just yet, also to protect the innocent, that type of thing. But we'll close out with that and just give you, hopefully a 30-minute overview of what's cooking in technology, transformation, the world of 2.0, et cetera. What do you think, Jake? Is that a good agenda?
That sounds good. So what's going on at Valenta?
We are just back from Las Vegas. We all got together for the first time, all the managing partners together face-to-face. Jake, it was the first time we met face-to-face, and yet we've been talking to each other over Zoom and over Teams, I don't know, daily almost for like the last year. So it was really great. When we were out there talking to some of the other managing partners, I don't know about you, Jake, but I heard about a lot of interesting projects. I heard about a very interesting SQL consulting project. I heard about a lot of different staff augmentation projects and clients that we were helping in a variety of different areas. Heard about a few different RPA projects. So that was very cool. And, for me, that probably was the highlight of what's going on with Valenta last week was really that managing partner meeting in Las Vegas, where pretty much everybody in the US and Canada got together face-to-face and the rest of the world was able to attend virtually. In terms of other things going on at Valenta, we have really stepped it up in terms of the blog and article publishing department lately. And there were a few really good ones that came out in the past week. A bunch of them seem to be focused on CRM this past week, CRM consultation, CRM administrators, specifically in Salesforce and Zoho. So those were interesting. Had some new blogs about staffing for paralegals, bookkeepers, and accountants. And there was also one really cool blog that I really liked. I posted about it today and already have had a lot of views. And it was entitled Bots versus Human Accountants. And it really was talking about like what's better. And really the answer is neither, because they're both appropriate for different purposes. And the article really gets into that. So I would strongly encourage anybody to read that blog specifically, but any of them really are quite good. So anyways, the new things that we published this past week and really just getting together for the first time, for me, that was the highlight of what happened at Valenta this past week.
Yeah, it was really exciting, and exciting as well to see. We have some really awesome tech partners, and they have some really cool innovation that I think our listeners, and if you're leading an organization, people will find very helpful actually in automating, streamlining.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at a few. Do you want to share what you found this week in terms of what was interesting?
Yeah, sure. So UiPath had a great article out this last week. It's called Automation's Value and the New Economy. And it talks about how, pre-COVID, firms were already focused on digital transformation of their business. And also the labor market was already starting to tighten up before COVID. But it talks about how the new economy is going to look a whole lot like kind of that pre-COVID economy, only faster. During COVID, I think a lot of organizations, from my experience, they continued on with their digital transformation efforts. They just did it remotely. They weren't in a room implementing, all together. They continue to implement digital transformation, ERP systems and the such. We just did it all over Zoom calls, right? But what happened along with COVID was this great resignation that made the job market even tighter than it was before. And the article gives some interesting statistics that kind of give us the status of where the job market is at and where we've just come through, and where we are right now. Just reading off a couple of these statistics for you as a part of the article. So there were in 2021, when we ended 2021, so this was only a few months ago, there were 10 job openings for every 7 job seekers. But if you're leading an organization and you're trying to manage a workforce, those numbers are incredibly scary for you. And so I'm thinking about, the key difference kind of in the automation industry, pre-COVID versus post-COVID, right? And I think pre-COVID, automation journeys were about, gaining efficiency, right? They were about lowering expenses. Sometimes that would cause displacement or disruption, and maybe some of your employees and your staff. But I think post-COVID, what we're seeing is with the labor situation that we have, organizations are now looking to bots and they're looking to RPA as a solution to cover this massive worker shortage that we have right now. So while bots are definitely going to give you the lower expenses and the efficiencies that you're looking at, they can also be a key part of your strategy for filling a workforce that a lot of our clients and a lot of folks in the industry might be having a hard time of filling. Another company out there, their name is ConverSight. They're an AI development company, and they released an article called "Preparing for the Future of AI." And this also has the theme of, supply chain disruptions are the theme of 2022. And a lot of supply chain companies keeping up with their own hiring actually is going to be one of the key focuses. And so what's happening, what they talk about in their article is that it's forcing companies to accelerate investment in digital tools and automation, inventory and network automation tools, that sort of thing, in order to help smooth out some of these supply chain disruptions and even keep up with their staffing opportunities that they're having right now. Couple of articles I found. What about yourself, Howard? What'd you find?
I had a few, and I also had something from UiPath as well. So go figure. I had something that caught my eye from OneReach.ai, something from UiPath, something from Data Robot. I'll start with OneReach.ai. So they were named by Gartner as a leader in the Magic Quadrant for enterprise conversational AI platforms. It's the first time that Gartner did a quadrant report on conversational AI platforms, and lo and behold, they're in the Magic Quadrant. So I thought that was very interesting, and I know that my colleagues at OneReach have been talking about this being something that might happen, but I guess in fact, it did happen. So good for them. Kudos for them. UiPath, I caught an interesting article that they published on telecom companies seeking 5G success and using automation in their rollouts and really embracing automation. And I actually come out of that space. So they talked about using automation for network slicing, for self-healing networks. And I was like, yeah, that definitely has got some great applications. But they also talked about things that I think are a little bit more obvious in terms of like real-time technician assignments, network testing and stuff like that, stressing a network in the article. But really good article. It would encourage people to read it if they're interested in that telecom sector like I am. And then maybe the last thing I wanted to call out is Data Robot is having a very interesting webinar next week. It's called AI-Driven Banking, Satisfied Customers and Safer Transactions. It's Thursday, April 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I signed up for it. I thought it looks pretty interesting. And we do a fair amount of consulting work with financial institutions and stuff like that. And, Data Robot, somebody we could certainly work with. So I really wanted to check that out. And that looked interesting. So that's it for me in terms of, checking out some of the technology vendors that we work with or we're interested in following. Jake, what are you working on this coming week? Like, what's exciting for you in terms of your next customer and client engagements?
Well, I've got something I'm working on in terms of helping to prepare companies to manage their workforce a little bit more efficiently and also prepare for automation. One of the things that I've found is that about half of all businesses, they don't have documented processes. So when you're talking about, what I was just talking about, employees who are leaving their jobs, right? And the processes aren't written down. They're all in people's heads, right? or how long it's going to take to onboard an employee to full productivity when you don't have a documented process, or how long it's going to take to automate processes if it's not documented. I mean, process documentation is kind of a prerequisite to automation. So I'm working on a really, it's a light approach to helping companies, organizations document processes and innovate them in a really short period of time. Give you an idea, we're talking about hours. Calling it a business process accelerator. So if you're familiar with Kaizen events, very similar in nature, yet it's much faster. So more to come on that. The goal is, though, that this will be an enabler for our listeners who want to spin up automation initiatives faster. Maybe you don't have processes documented. You can get them documented in a very efficient fashion. So what you got going on?
Fair amount of my practice right now is really involving staff augmentation. And I've been working with some real estate investment companies in South Florida. And I'm continuing to fill additional roles for them. I started off with bookkeepers and then moved to like CPA level accountant roles that I've been filling. And then some of them are coming back to me for assistance to help them with their leasing management, basically property manager assistance, handling all the leasing and supplier and maintenance type calls and these types of things. I even have provided some property investment research people, in order to find properties that they might be interested in further, investing in, and, even setting up calls for them to talk to brokers and such. So a lot of activity in that area that I really wasn't thinking that I would have, but it's a good use of my time.
Also wanted to add in there as well, I think we had a good interview with a company a couple of weeks ago called Hopstack, Hopstack.io, I believe. That dropped, actually. Our interview dropped, I believe this morning or this week, either yesterday or today. I can't remember. The days run together, right? But Hopstack, for our listeners, they're all about kind of achieving. They have technology for warehouse management that can really help warehouses kind of maximize their utilization. They use a lot of AI algorithms to automate kind of the back order replenishment processes, optimize stock levels, forecasting, that type of thing. And so I thought we had a really good conversation. We talked about all of that and a lot more. And so we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, we did have a really good conversation. I mean, with your background from Walmart and, in the supply and logistics business, I was just along for the ride on that one, but you and Hopstack had a good conversation. And let's get that one into the show notes. Anything else you want to cover, Jake? This is our inaugural podcast. There's going to be a lot more of these coming up, and we'll probably follow the same format. And I think we might even talk more about technology vendors the next time. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I agree. Yep. But this is good. A good first start.
All right. Well, hey, we'll talk to you soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll be back talking to you in about a week. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.